What if I told you that in the last 3 years, a silent psychological switch flipped in the global economy, and it's entirely bypassing your brain's pain receptors? You aren't spending money anymore. You're spending dopamine. And the companies that figured this out, they've quietly turned 450 million people worldwide into unpaid lab rats in a massive psychological experiment. I'm going to show you how Klarna, Afterpay, and every buy now, pay later app hacked the most fundamental vulnerability in your brain and created something called the Cashless Effect. And I've created a free BNPL defense toolkit that shows you exactly how to identify when your brain is being hacked and the 30-second reset to stop it. Links in the description. Let's dive in. Here's what happened. You're browsing online at 2 a.m. You see those headphones you've wanted. $300. Too expensive. But wait. There it is. That friendly little button. Pay in 4 interest-free installments. $75 today. That's it. Your brain goes, that's basically nothing. You click. Done. Feels amazing, right? That rush of excitement, the anticipation. That's not accidental. That rush is exactly what they designed. And you're not weak. You're not bad with money. You're up against a system that spent billions figuring out how to disconnect the pleasure of buying from the pain of paying. In 2019, buy now, pay later was a niche thing. By 2023, nearly 1 in 3 Gen Z and millennials used it in the past year alone. That's not a trend. That's a fundamental rewiring of how an entire generation thinks about spending. And here's the thing they don't tell you. The people who use BNPL spend 40% more than they would have paid up front. Not maybe. 40% more. That's not a discount. That's a premium you're paying for the privilege of paying later. And you know what's crazier? The people who use it most, 60% of them, are already carrying credit card debt. They're not using BNPL because they're good with money. They're using it because they're already drowning in it. This is what nobody talks about. BNPL isn't a payment option. It's a psychological trap. Now here's what most people get wrong. Your brain has a region called the Insula Cortex. It's the part that lights up when you feel physical pain, social rejection, losing money. It's your brain's warning system. When you pay with cash, that region activates. You literally feel the loss. It's called the pain of paying, a term coined by behavioral economists at Carnegie Mellon and Stanford. But when you swipe a credit card, that pain drops by about 30%. The payment and the purchase get decoupled. Your brain doesn't process it as losing money. It processes it as nothing much. Now imagine what happens when you split that payment into 4 pieces, each a fraction of the total, spread across weeks. That pain response? It drops by over 70%. The same $300 purchase that would have made your brain scream no if you paid cash now feels as painless as buying a coffee. This is what researchers call the cashless effect, and BNPL is its most extreme form ever created. And here's the scary part. The first payment hits immediately. That's when the purchase feels most real. But by the time payment number 2, number 3, and number 4 arrive, you've already adapted. The item is yours. The habit is formed. The pain doesn't register. Your brain never learned to connect the dots. This is exactly what I mapped out in the free BNPL Defense Toolkit. The payment pain scale shows you your personal vulnerability to this effect. Download link is in the description below. So how do you fight back? Because here's the truth. You can't just willpower your way out of this. Your brain is working against decades of evolutionary programming. Strategy number 1, the 72-hour rule. When you see that BNPL option, you're in a dopamine state. You're not thinking clearly, so create a rule. Any purchase over $100 using BNPL gets a 72-hour waiting period. Here's what happens. In 72 hours, that initial dopamine rush fades. Your prefrontal cortex comes back online. Suddenly, $75 doesn't feel like nothing anymore. It feels like $75. I've seen people save over $2,000 per month just with this one rule. The impulse to buy doesn't survive the 72-hour test. Strategy number 2, the cash conversion test. Before you click that Pay in 4 button, ask yourself, would I still want this if I had to hand over actual cash right now? Most people? The answer is no. That $300 in cash feels very different from $75 spread over time. This is why I included the cash conversion calculator in the BNPL Defense Toolkit. It converts your BNPL payments into the equivalent cash pile. Because seeing $300 in cash hits different than seeing $75 today. Download it free below. I'll explain more strategies next. If you're learning something new here, drop a light bulb in the comments. It really helps the algorithm. Show this to more people who need it. But what if I told you there's a better way to handle this? One that doesn't require willpower at all. Strategy number 3, the BNPL block. Most BNPL apps have a setting to disable them at checkout. Klarna, Afterpay, they all let you turn off the Pay in 4 default. So turn it off. Make it annoying to use. Remove the frictionless path. When you have to manually enable BNPL every time, you add friction, and friction kills impulse spending. I've seen this one change. Reduce BNPL usage by 80% for people who were hooked. Not because they got more disciplined, because they made the bad habit harder to do. Strategy number 4, the debt reality check. Open your BNPL apps. Add up everything you owe across all of them. Klarna, Afterpay, Affirm, PayPal, Pay in 4. All of it. That number? That's your real monthly obligation. Not just the payment hitting today, the total. I worked with a client who thought she had $200 in BNPL payments. When she actually added up all 4 apps, she had $4,800 in BNPL debt across 18 purchases. Some she'd forgotten about entirely. She was paying the equivalent of a second car payment in random installments she couldn't track. This is why the BNPL Defense Toolkit includes a complete BNPL audit template. It shows you every payment, every date, every app in one place. You can't manage what you can't see. Links in the description. It's literally the cheat sheet. I wish I had when I started learning this stuff. And this brings us to something I've never shared before. I talked to a guy, let's call him Mark. He's a software engineer, makes $120,000 a year, and he was somehow broke every month. He couldn't figure it out. He wasn't extravagant, no fancy car, no expensive apartment, but every month he was negative. Then we did the BNPL audit. Turns out Mark had $11,400 spread across 47 different BNPL purchases: gaming laptop, camera equipment, home gym, office chair, all in manageable $50 to $200 installments. But collectively, they were eating $2,200 per month of his income. That's 26% of his take-home pay. Gone to stuff he bought months ago. But here's what happened. We used the exact system I'm teaching you. The 72-hour rule, the BNPL block, the debt audit. In 3 months, Mark paid off all his BNPL debt. In 6 months, he had $8,000 in savings. He told me something I'll never forget. He said, "I thought I was bad with money. Turns out I was just using a payment method designed to make me feel like I wasn't spending." That's not a failure. That's a system working exactly as designed, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. So let's recap. The 3 things you need to know. Number 1, BNPL hacks your brain's pain of paying. By splitting payments, it reduces the psychological pain by 70%, making you spend 40% more than you would have otherwise. Number 2, you can't outsmart dopamine. Willpower doesn't work. You need systems, like the 72-hour rule, the cash conversion test, and blocking BNPL at checkout. Number 3, you have to see it to stop it. Most people have thousands in BNPL debt. They don't track. The BNPL audit reveals the real number. This isn't about never using BNPL again. It's about using it with your eyes open. About not being the person who looks back in 5 years and wonders where all the money went. Thanks for watching. If you're ready to stop letting algorithms make your spending decisions, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. What's the most impulsive BNPL purchase you've ever made? I'll read every single one. See you in the next one.